faithfully delivering value and interpreting great books from around the world. Hi, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today, we're exploring the book How to Build a Better Brain with the subtitle A Brain Boosting Diet for More Energy, Sharper Memory, and Better Mood. The book focuses on diet. Do you know which foods are linked to brain health? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. I love you. This book shows how diet is intimately connected to our brain health. Choosing brain-healthy foods can keep you mentally sharp, boost cognitive abilities, and help prevent or delay brain disorders like Alzheimer's disease. On the flip side, sticking to a poor diet long-term can accelerate brain damage. The author is an American neuroscientist, Lisa Mosconi, who's dedicated to neuroscience research for 15 years, now heads the Nutrition and Brain Health Lab at NYU and serves as Deputy Director of the Alzheimer's Prevention Center at Weill Cornell Medicine. She also puts her research into practice, sharing brain-boosting recipes on her website and blog, and personally demonstrating how to make them. She's been featured in over 80 major media outlets like AP, Reuters, the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal. In this book, Drawing from Neuroscience, Nutrition, and the Microbiome, she compiles findings from hundreds of scientists. Combined with her own research over the years, she provides a complete guide to a brain-healthy diet. Now, I'll break down the book's key points into two parts. First, the brain's unique nutritional requirements. Second, principles for a brain-healthy diet. Let's start with part one. What makes the brain's nutritional needs special compared to the rest of the body? As a vital yet delicate organ, the brain has a unique defense, the blood-brain barrier. This cellular shield between blood and brain tissue allows only safe, beneficial nutrients to pass through.
To access the brain?
First, water is a welcomed guest that easily crosses the blood-brain barrier into the brain. We know water is essential for life, but few realize it's also critical for our intelligence. Water makes up about 80% of our brain, compared to roughly 60% in the rest of our body. Now, additionally, every chemical reaction in the brain involves water. Water also carries oxygen. Only with sufficient oxygen can brain cells function properly. Finally, water helps absorb nutrients and flush out waste.
The brain is extremely sensitive to dehydration when your water intake falls below what your body uses.
Dehydration accelerates brain shrinkage linked to aging and Alzheimer's disease. Studies show dehydration thins brain tissue and reduces volume, but thankfully, drinking more water can reverse this within days. Actually, you don't need full dehydration to feel effects. Reducing daily water intake by just 3% to 4% immediately affects your brain, causing fatigue, low energy, headaches, and mood swings. So, how much water should we drink daily for brain health? General advice: adults should drink about 2 liters daily. Adjust this based on age, environment, activity level, and special needs. As we age, brains need more water since seniors are more vulnerable to water imbalance, worsening cognitive decline and neurological diseases like Alzheimer's. What you drink matters too. Hard water rich in minerals like calcium and magnesium benefits brain health most. Bottled mineral water and boiled tap water are hard water. Purified water lacks beneficial minerals. But we get over 20% of daily water from food, not just drinking. Choosing water-rich foods like fresh fruits and veggies can replace 1 or 2 glasses of water. In short, more water and water-rich foods lead to healthier brains and better cognition. The second vital brain nutrient is fat. It makes up 11% of brain weight. But brain fat isn't for energy. It builds nerve cells. Like phospholipids and sphingolipids, these two fats make up 70% of all brain fat. They're the building blocks for nerve cell membranes. They're composed of glycerol and fatty acid molecules. Fatty acids are classified as saturated or unsaturated based on their chemical structure. Unsaturated fats split into monounsaturated and polyunsaturated. Only polyunsaturated fatty acids cross the blood-brain barrier. The brain uses them to form complex fats like phospholipids and sphingolipids that our bodies can't produce. We must get these essential polyunsaturated fats from food. They're categorized into omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. These two types serve different functions. Omega-6s are pro-inflammatory. They activate your immune system during infections or injuries to fight threats. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. They reduce inflammation after dangers pass. Research shows balancing omega-6 and omega-3 is crucial for immune and brain health. The ideal intake ratio is 2 to 1, 8 grams omega-6 to 4 grams omega-3 daily. But most diets contain excessive omega-6, found in common oils like corn, peanuts, sunflower, and deficient omega-3. Over half the fatty acids in soybean oil, widely used in cooking, are omega-6. Regular soybean oil use can spike daily omega-6 intake to tens of grams. Excess omega-6 increases risks of atherosclerosis, arthritis, autoimmune disorders, and neurological diseases like Alzheimer's. Omega-3 sources are scarcer. They come as EPA, DHA in fatty fish, and ALA. If you don't eat these fish regularly, it's hard to get enough EPA and DHA directly. ALA mainly comes from plants like soybeans, walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds, and spirulina. But to reach the brain, ALA must eventually convert to DHA.
The conversion rate is very low. About 3/4 of ALA gets lost during conversion.
Research shows sufficient omega-3 intake fights age-related cognitive decline and reduces Alzheimer's risk. For example, a dietary study of 6,000 seniors over 65 found those consuming under 1 gram of omega-3 had 70% higher Alzheimer's risk than those getting over 4 grams. So while both omega-6 and omega-3 are essential, we should actually reduce omega-6 intake in practice. Meanwhile, eat more omega-3 rich foods like salmon, trout, or caviar. Just one small salmon fillet plus a teaspoon of caviar meets daily needs. If you're short on time, DHA supplements are a backup option. Another approach is getting omega-3 from phospholipid-rich foods. As mentioned, phospholipids, key components of brain cell membranes, are mostly made of omega-3Cs, making these foods excellent sources. When you eat phospholipid-rich foods, your body breaks down these larger lipids into smaller omega-3s that enter the bloodstream. They then cross the blood-brain barrier. Rich sources include fish, shellfish, crab, and shrimp. Notably, egg yolks are phospholipid-rich, over 10 grams per 100 grams. Plus, plant-based foods like peas, oats, and soybeans are also rich in phospholipids. Unsaturated fats are essential for the brain, and other fats can't cross the blood-brain barrier, but still affect the brain indirectly. Olive oil and avocados are rich in monounsaturated fats, known for heart benefits which indirectly support brain health. Studies show those consuming at least 24 grams daily have 80% lower Alzheimer's risk compared to those under 15 grams. Good news! Just 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil daily achieves this benefit. On the other hand, saturated fats, especially from meat and dairy, are less brain-friendly. While they don't enter the brain directly, excess saturated fat thickens blood, reducing oxygen delivery and causing dangerous brain hypoxia. Even mild oxygen shortage can impair cognition. Plus, excess saturated fat increases heart disease and type 2 diabetes risk, both linked to higher dementia rates, including Alzheimer's and vascular dementia. Seniors consuming over 25 grams saturated fat daily have quadruple the dementia risk compared to those under 13 grams. That's 4 times higher dementia risk. Scientists agree, for brain health, less saturated fat is better. Current guidelines cap saturated fat at 6% of daily calories. For a 2,000-calorie diet, that's under 120 calories, about 13 grams, equivalent to half a palm-sized portion of pork belly. Then there's trans fat, the worst fat of all. Trans fats come from hydrogenation, an industrial food process. Hydrogen gas stabilizes chemical structures in otherwise healthy vegetable oils. This creates trans fats during processing. Medical studies confirm even small amounts, like 2 grams daily, increase cognitive decline and dementia risk by triggering inflammation that promotes stroke and cardiovascular disease. Commercially packaged baked goods like donuts, cakes, and cookies mostly contain trans fats. Notably, current food labeling regulations worldwide have some leniency toward trans fats. For example, China's prepackaged food labeling standards allow 0 grams trans fat claims when content is less than or equal to zero point 0.3 grams per 100 grams. So, to avoid trans fats, minimize or eliminate fried foods. And baked goods? For the brain, the third most crucial nutrient is protein, specifically the amino acids that form it. Our brains contain over 100 neurotransmitters, chemical messengers that transmit signals between neurons. How you think, speak, dream, and remember all involve neurotransmitters. Amino acids are the building blocks for these neurotransmitters, with several being particularly vital. First is tryptophan, used to produce serotonin, a key neurotransmitter. Serotonin primarily regulates mood. Low levels lead to brief, infrequent happiness signals, eventually causing anxiety and depression. It also affects sleep, memory, and appetite regulation.
We can't produce tryptophan, must get it from foods rich in animal or plant proteins, which are widely available.
Chia seeds top the list. Just 2 tablespoons provide over 200 milligrams tryptophan. Plant sources include wheat, oats, sesame, pumpkin seeds. Animal sources include milk, yogurt, chicken, and fish. Pairing tryptophan-rich foods with carbs helps it cross the blood-brain barrier, boosting serotonin production. For example, adding honey to milk improves tryptophan utilization. The second essential amino acid is phenylalanine. Phenylalanine helps produce dopamine, linked to desire and pleasure, transmitting excitement and happiness. Dopamine imbalance is linked to Parkinson's, ADHD, schizophrenia, and other disorders. Phenylalanine is also an essential amino acid that must come from our diet.
But it's widely available in high-protein animal and plant products, so deficiency is rare.
Having covered fats and proteins, we now turn to carbohydrates, the third macronutrient. Now let's discuss the brain's carbohydrate needs. Our bodies use 2 energy sources, fats and glucose from carbs. But for the brain, glucose is normally the sole energy source. It easily crosses the blood-brain barrier to fuel billions of neurons. Beyond immediate energy, the brain converts some glucose to glycogen for about a day's reserve. Once glucose needs are met, the barrier's glucose channels close, no matter how much remains in your blood. Research shows that to stay active and healthy, an adult brain needs about 62 grams of glucose daily. If supply drops below 50 grams, glycogen depletes, endangering the brain.
Severe hypoglycemia can cause rapid loss of consciousness.
But the clever brain has a plan B. During glucose shortage, it signals the liver to break down fats into ketones as backup fuel. This is an emergency mechanism for extreme situations, like starvation. Even on ketones, the brain still requires glucose for at least 30% of energy, making long-term ketogenic diets unsuitable. Ultimately, the brain functions best with glucose as its primary fuel. Natural glucose sources like grape states and honey outperform processed sweets. They fuel the brain directly without added fat burdens. For example, just 3 tablespoons of honey meet our daily 62 grams glucose requirement. In contrast, you'd need to eat about 7.26 kilograms of chocolate cookies for equivalent glucose. Beyond water and macronutrients, the brain has specific vitamin and mineral preferences. For instance, vitamin B6 is critically important for the brain. Without B6, the brain couldn't produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. B6 is abundant in natural foods: sunflower seeds, pistachios, fish, especially tuna, shellfish, lean meats, and organ meats. Plant sources include avocados, leafy greens, cabbage, bananas, and garlic.
Garlic has the highest concentration. Just 100 grams meets your daily B6 requirement.
Choline, another B vitamin, is also essential. The brain uses it to make acetylcholine, a key neurotransmitter for memory and learning. Acetylcholine deficiency multiplies Alzheimer's risk. Our liver produces about 10% of choline. The rest comes from diet. Egg yolks are richest, followed by caviar and shiitake mushrooms. Antioxidants like vitamin C and E are crucial too. Constant brain activity causes oxidative stress, generating free radicals that damage cells. These vitamins combat that damage. Studies show vitamin E may even slow cognitive decline in Alzheimer's patients. But only food-based antioxidants like fresh produce work. Supplements haven't shown equivalent results. Minerals are equally vital for brain health and function. However, mineral deficiency is rare. Excess intake is the real concern. For example, studies show excess iron, zinc, or copper in seniors increases cognitive impairment risk. This likely happens because excess minerals promote oxidative stress, accelerating brain aging. Sometimes, mineral excess combined with other dietary issues creates even greater risks. For example, diets high in copper plus saturated and trans fats accelerate cognitive decline. Copper comes from many sources. Beyond natural sources like shrimp, shellfish, organ meats, and legumes, be cautious with multivitamins, especially if you already eat high fat.
Finally, let's discuss probiotics.
Probiotics are health beneficial bacteria, most famously your gut microbiome. They don't directly reach the brain but significantly influence brain health. First, nutrient absorption of key vitamins and minerals depends heavily on gut microbiome health and diversity.
Second, these bacteria help maintain amino acid levels like tryptophan.
Plus, gut bacteria produce beneficial fatty acids like butyrate that strengthen or weaken the blood-brain barrier, regulating what enters the brain. Research shows gut microbiome changes may increase susceptibility to autism, anxiety, depression, and dementias like Alzheimer's. Gut microbes also affect emotional regulation. In one study, 25 young women split into two groups. One consumed probiotic-rich yogurt twice daily for a month. The control group had no yogurt. Researchers used fMRI to measure emotional responses to anger, sadness, or fear images. Surprisingly, reactions differed significantly between groups. Yogurt consumers showed milder reactions to negative stimuli than non-consumers. High-fiber, low-animal fat diets create the healthiest gut microbiomes. Conversely, low-fiber, high-fat eaters have fragile gut bacteria. For brain health, the author recommends 3 foods, starting with prebiotics. Prebiotics are rich in oligosaccharides, a type of carb that's the gut microbiome's absolute favorite food.
You'll find oligosaccharides in mildly sweet foods like onions, garlic, oats, bananas, and shiitake mushrooms.
Second category, high fiber foods. They promote regular digestion, which is crucial for gut microbiome health. Toxins from stagnant waste damage gut flora. Fruits, veggies, whole grains, and cereals are excellent fiber sources. Besides prebiotics and fiber, eat more probiotics. Live cultures in fermented foods like yogurt and kimchi. All right, that wraps up part 1. We've covered the brain's special needs for water, fats, protein, carbs, vitamins, minerals, and probiotics. Now for part 2, brain healthy diet principles. First major principle, choose brain-loving foods. So, what does a brain-loving diet look like? Combining nutrition research, brain evolution, and blues on diets, the author proposes a plant-focused diet with healthy fats. Scientists believe plant-based foods provided most calories during most of human evolution. Studies of hunter-gatherer tribes show 65% plant-based foods versus less than 35% animal foods, meaning plant foods played a foundational role in millions of years of human brain evolution. Scientists studied blue zone diets in Sardinia, Icaria, Okinawa, Nicoya Peninsula, and Loma Linda. Despite geographical distance, all follow similar plant-focused eating patterns. Among these long-lived elders, 98% are vegetarians. Daily diets feature fresh produce, grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. These foods are packed with brain-essential nutrients. Fruits and veggies provide vitamins and minerals, plus fiber to nourish gut probiotics. Legumes, nuts, and seeds primarily supply omega-3 unsaturated fatty acids. Many plants also contain natural glucose, fully satisfying our brain's energy demands. Thus, a plant-focused diet is truly the golden rule for maintaining brain health. This doesn't mean becoming fully vegetarian. Just incorporate more plant-based foods into daily meals. The author suggests including vegetables in both lunch and dinner, plus eating whole fruits, not juice, at least once daily. Have legumes or whole grains at least 4 times weekly. Beyond plants, a brain-boosting diet should include moderate, healthy fats. All fats, good or bad, add caloric load to your body. Control total fat intake while prioritizing quality fats that benefit both brain and body. Choose foods rich in omega-3s and monounsaturated fats. Limit those high in omega-6s and saturated fats. The top source of quality fats is fish. Surprisingly, human ancestors consumed more aquatic foods than land meat. Archaeology and fossils confirm fish were primary animal protein. Evidence shows early humans lived near water, accessing abundant aquatic foods like fish, shellfish, amphibians, and reptiles. Aquatic foods provide proteins and vitamins vital for overall nervous system health. Studies show quality fish or shellfish reduce memory loss and dementia risk. Most longevity guidelines recommend fish at least weekly. The author suggests 2 to 3 servings weekly, but avoid large fish like tuna or shark. They often contain high mercury levels. Pregnant women especially should avoid mercury-rich fish. Another strategy, practical substitution tip, replace omega-6 rich cooking oils with those high in omega-3s and monounsaturated fats.
Flaxseed oil has the highest omega-3 content among plant oils. 1 tablespoon contains about 7 grams.
Limit oils rich in omega-6 like sunflower, corn, soybean, and peanut oil. Instead, regularly use monounsaturated rich oils like olive oil, especially extra virgin, first cold pressed. Extra virgin olive oil is a key reason for the health benefits of the Mediterranean diet. To prevent accelerated brain aging and reduce heart disease risk, avoid excess saturated fats from animal products. Blue zone centenarians rarely eat meat or dairy, only during communal celebrations. Limit red meat to once weekly, about 56 to 84 grams, palm-sized portion. Choose lean cuts, remove chicken skin, while milk provides essential nutrients. 200 milliliters daily suffices. For brain essential choline, eat 2 to 3 eggs weekly. The second principle, prioritize food quality. This principle has 3 layers. First, choose whole foods, not isolated nutrients. The human body is complex. Nutrients interact synergistically, e.g. vitamin C boosts iron, or antagonistically, e.g. calcium versus phosphorus. Isolating single nutrients rarely achieves desired effects. Growing evidence shows supplements can't replicate nutrition from whole foods.
Most nutrients should come from natural foods. Only consider supplements if dietary intake is insufficient.
Always consult a doctor before taking supplements. Second layer, choose natural over processed foods. To maximize nutrient absorption, prioritize whole or minimally processed foods. Centenarians worldwide avoid processed or packaged foods. They eat freshly picked produce from gardens or orchards, maximizing nutrient retention. Food processing drastically reduces nutrients, like wheat milling, rice polishing, or cornmeal filtering. These methods significantly deplete vitamins, minerals, and dietary fiber because these nutrients concentrate in the stripped outer layers and husks. B vitamins suffer most, up to 50% loss during processing. Other methods, like freezing and canning, also cause nutrient depletion. Processing doesn't just remove nutrients, it adds unhealthy components, like trans fats and additives, e.g., emulsifiers for texture or appearance, that harm gut bacteria. Second, preparation methods affect nutritional impact. For veggies, fruits, nuts, and seeds, raw consumption is usually optimal. Their enzymes, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants remain intact, delivering peak nutrition.
That said, some vegetables like carrots and tomatoes benefit from cooking.
Light steaming or roasting releases beta-carotene and lycopene from cell walls for better absorption. For whole grains and legumes, sprouting transforms them into nutrient gold mines. Sprouting releases beneficial enzymes, improves digestion, shortens cooking time, and preserves nutrients. For animal products, except high-quality ones like sashimi, cooking kills bacteria and pathogens. Cooking meat aids digestion. Stir-frying or grilling are great methods, but frying increases advanced glycation end products. This substance is carbohydrates in food. When exposed to high heat, they react with proteins and lipids to form compounds that may cause inflammation. Also, oil usage methods matter. For oils rich in omega-3s like olive and flaxseed oil, raw consumption preserves maximum nutrients. When cooking, choose oils with high smoke points, the temperature where oil starts burning. Common canola oil has a 240 degrees Celsius smoke point, making it ideal for cooking. The third aspect of food quality: choose organic. For brain health, prioritize organic produce to avoid pesticides and chemical toxins. Organic meat and dairy reduces antibiotic intake. Organic standards prohibit non-medical antibiotic use. Antibiotics kill gut probiotics. You might worry organic food costs too much, but redirecting processed food spending to organic often covers the difference. All right, that covers the book's main content. Epigenetics: how lifestyle switches genes on or off affects health and cognition. Diet dominates lifestyle factors since we eat daily for life. Spawning nutrigenomics. Beyond diet, holistic brain and body health requires exercise, sleep, stress reduction, and mental challenges. As the author says, genes load the gun, but daily choices pull the trigger. Which dietary principle will you adopt first? Share your thoughts on becoming an excellent brain nurturer. That concludes our book summary. Notes are below the audio. See you next time.